I love that. And then Jen Nowak said,
all right, now we're at the returns tab. So here's kind of the returns tab is more for the back end side of the deal. So when you're selling the deal, kind of what your equity you created, the equity that you're receiving on the sale of the property and how that's being split up. This is going to break all that down. So we can see net operating income end of year 5, then we can see the exit price at end of year. This is also based off the cap rate that we put. We put out 5.5% on the exit. So it's showing of a value of 35 million, which we can also see up here at the top. Then we have our sales expense, and you can change the number. We kind of leave it at 5%, and then disposition fee at 1%. These numbers can be changed if needed. That's just showing what our expenses are when we are going to sell the property. So 1.7, and before I get too far, the reason why I'm looking at year 5 is because that's we're holding for 5 years. I don't really need to look at years 2, 3, and 4 because I want to focus on the year I'm selling and the outcome. It's just showing you each scenario if you're to sell at those different years. But year 5, so we have our fees right there. We have to pay our loan back. The balance is about 16 million then, and then our loan prepayment percentage. This is going to change, and that's why they're yellow, based on your loan, your lender. So you can always change these and what that would be. But so at 7% for year 5, that's going to be a 1.8 or 1.1 million dollar prepayment penalty that you're going to have to pay because you're getting out of the loan earlier than your term.
Okay, good. All right, so that's.
Then you have your owner equity. So this is all the equity that you created from the property, from buying it at 23 million and selling it at 35. This is the equity you created. You got to pay 10 million back to your investors, so they receive their 10 million, their initial investment back. Then you make up your lack of cash flow for the managers, which is at almost $250,000 that you missed out on. And then you're left with $5 million as pure profit on the back end. So now you're going to have to split that up between you and your investors, which we have as a 30-70 split. That can also be changed if needed. We can alter that. But here we have 1.5 million to the managers and then 3.6 to the investors. So if we were to change that and say we give our investors a little bit more, that's going to actually help the return for investors a little bit. At 15%, that takes away from our profit as well. So we can alter that if needed. Then we have our investors' net equity return, 36%. The investors' net equity growth, how much it grew, 7.3% annualized. The cash flow, 7% each year. So 7, 7, 7, 5, 7. That's how their cash flow distributions were, which is a total 70% return on their investment, which is 14% annualized, and then 12.4% as an internal rate of return. So I look at this a lot just to check on sell the property and what the profit distribution would be, and also the internal rate of return. I like to look at that number. If we kind of scroll down to this extra information, it just shows your NOI and how it increased, the growth, and all that. It's just extra information if you want to look at your IRR values. And then down here, it's kind of helpful. It shows the cap rates. It kind of gives a range. So let's say you're not going to be able to sell it at 5.5, but you have to sell it at 5.8. Here's your exit value of 33 million. So that's 2 million that you're losing out on because market changed. Or if the market's doing better, that's 2 million that you were able to extra profit on. So it's just a good way to see how volatile your property will be depending on the market. So that's a return tab. This last tab I want to go over is returns and cash flow. This tab is to kind of show your investors when you're talking to investors about investing in multifamily, investing in your deals. This is where you can show them. So here is, we can change this one number and it's not going to change any of your other numbers in your spreadsheet. This is only for kind of show purposes. So first off, we have the equity returns, that $10 million invested. Here's the cash flow going out each year to all your investors. And here's what it's showing the percentage wise. The total return of just cash flow is 3.3 million, almost 3.4, which is a 34% return. Their equity split, 3.6 million, which is their total return of 7 million, which is a 70% total return. So that's the overall for all the equity being put into the deal. But then if you scroll down here, we have the annual cash flow for $100,000 invested section. This is to show your investor, if they were to invest $100,000, this is how much cash flow or distributions they'll receive each year. And then it's going to show their equity gain portion at the sale of the property, their total investment value. So they invested $100,000. At the end, they're going to total including cash flow, the equity, piece of it, they get $170,000 back. So that's $70,000 extra in profit they receive, which is a 14% return. So this is where you can kind of talk to them about it, show what their money is. We can change this number to say $250,000 and they can see what their return's going to be. Their percentage is going to stay the same, but the amount they receive is going to be different. Instead, maybe it's just $50,000 you're going to invest. So you can play around this number, especially showing your investors, you can show what their kind of amount of money they'll receive based on how much they invest. So it's just kind of a fun tab to kind of see what those returns would be like investing in the Dell. So those are all the tabs except for the rent unit mix. So we'll have a new video going through that. But that's essentially the underwriting template. I'm always updating this template, so pay attention when there are new versions. I will be doing new videos for those versions, but this is the underwriting template. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I can help you through this.